This is Success Decoded on Virgin Radio. My name's Maz Hakim. And today we are with the queen of manifesting, the one and only Roxie Nafousi.
Aw, thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited. I feel like I manifested this moment, Roxy, because I read your book a few months ago. I listened to it on Audible.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I probably was listening to it at a time where I really needed it. And it's 7 steps to living your best life. Tell us a little bit about.
Okay, so manifestation, I'll just give a really quick overview. The manifestation is using the power of your mind to change and create the reality you experience. And when I first discovered manifestation, I was kind of in a pretty tough place myself. And I would say I was at rock bottom really. And suddenly I discovered this practice that gave me a sense of hope again. And so I went away and I started researching everything I could, not just on manifestation, but on self development. So I was immersing myself with everything I could listen to or read or watch. And what I realized was all these great thinkers and philosophers and speakers from, you know, present day and past, they were all talking about the power of our mind. And so they were all talking about manifestation. And I was like, huh, okay, so manifesting isn't just about positive thinking. It's not just about wishful thinking. This is a real self development practice. And I had just started my career where I was trying to inspire and help others and use my own experiences to do that. And I thought, well, how can I explain such a big practice? So I devised my own 7 step guide to manifestation, which was it's actionable, it's tool based, it's not fluffy, and I started teaching it as webinars and workshops. And eventually I decided to write a book for it because I wanted to reach more people. And it came out in January 2022. And it works so well that in the 3 years since it came out, it's been sold. Over 1 million copies have been sold in 122 countries. And I say that only because it really does work. That's not me telling 1 million people to buy it. It's somebody reading it changing their lives, and then them telling someone else about it. And so it's a real honor, to be able to speak about manifestation and the 7 steps. I'm still just as passionate about it now as I was when I first started.
So, do you still manifest your life on a day to day basis? Do you still have a vision board that you
Yeah.
create? And
It's a great question. I would say that for me, manifestation is a way of living. So it's a mindset, it's a way of being, it's how I conduct my behavior, it's how I approach my thinking, it's how I overcome challenges, it's how I practice gratitude and find joy in the day to day. So I'm always practicing my 7 steps of manifesting. But do I now have these great big goals? Honestly, no, because I feel so content and so at peace
Mhm.
that yes, I want to be moving forwards,
Yeah.
but I'm also really happy where I am. So I don't feel like I'm chasing something to
Yeah.
bring me happiness.
Mhm.
Actually, I'm happy in the moment. And yeah, I've got things that I want to work towards, but I wouldn't say I'm as attached to these great big goals as I was at the beginning.
Do you think that's one of the keys to manifesting or living this, just being sort of at peace and having gratitude and contentment?
Definitely. I think in the book, I call it the manifesting sweet spot, which is knowing what you want whilst being entirely grateful for all that you already have. And I think that when I think about what is a happy life, really we know that reaching your goals doesn't make you happy. And I think that there is this idea that when we reach a certain goal we have in our mind, whether that's a certain amount of money in our bank account or a job or a relationship, we think that that's the moment we'll feel enough, when we'll feel content, when we'll feel full of joy and excitement. And the truth is, we also know that that's rarely the case
Yeah.
because we've all reached a goal and we've realized that the kind of happiness we felt lasted a very short period of time before we then went back to feeling how we were before and then setting ourselves a new goal. And the reason I think this happens is because we emotionally attach to the outcome. So we kind of do say, I'll be happy when, I'll feel confident when, I'll be successful when. Now, I think the trick is to be able to use the power of gratitude to really appreciate life's ordinary moments, to romanticize the life you already have whilst being in pursuit of something. I think that for our mental health, having a goal to look towards is so important. We need it to actually release dopamine, which creates that feeling of excitement and motivation. We need that, but we also need the serotonin and oxytocin. We also need the here and now. And that's what brings you the real joy and contentment.
For anyone who hasn't read the book yet, what are the 7 steps?
Okay, so step one is be clearing your vision. Essentially, you can't get to where you want to go unless you know where it is you are headed. So it's really asking people to get clarity on what they think will make them feel content, fulfilled, joyful, but also importantly, not just thinking about what can I have, but who do I want to become? Because I think that we don't just manifest things into our life, we manifest our greatest selves and we become and in becoming that version of ourselves, that empowered version of ourselves, that's how we make change. Step two is remove fear and doubt. I would say the sort of big secret of manifestation is that we only manifest what we subconsciously believe we are worthy of receiving. So you can think about your dream life, your dream partner, whatever it is, but if you don't really believe you're worthy of receiving it, you won't attract it into your life. And so removing fear and doubt is all about healing. It's about finding self belief. And that's actually my new book, Confidence 8 Steps to Knowing Your Worth, is really all about this step.
Do you think a lot of women find struggle with worthiness?
Do you know, I think men and women do. Really? Yes, I think that women are just more open about it. I think that men probably don't, they're not as, it's not as easy for them to share it with a friend. You know, they're not, a group of guys aren't really meet, and I'm generalizing here, but most group of guys aren't meeting up to talk about their problems, each other, or not feeling enough, or their insecurities. Whereas I think women, we give each other a bit of a safer space to do that. But I think that it is, of course, I mean, women have a lot more pressures in terms of like how we look, appearances, you know, being able to juggle motherhood and work and the pressures that come with all of that. And I think that also it's a lot harder for women to do things like celebrate themselves, you know, or show up with confidence because there's this kind of underlying idea that women should be quiet and humble and, you know, whereas a man probably hasn't got that same pressure on him. You know, if a guy walked into a meeting full of confidence, he'd be respected. Sometimes if a woman walks in with that same confidence, they're accused of being arrogant. And so there's lots of different dynamics at play which can interfere with it for sure.
Love that. So that's step 3.
Step two.
Step 2, and then step 6.
Step three is align your behavior. That's about taking action. It's about doing the work you need to do to get to where you want to go. So you can't think your way to success. You do have to put in the work. It's about stepping outside your comfort zone. It's also about aligning your behavior with the person you want to become. So it's thinking about your routines, your habits, the way you treat yourself day to day. Step four is overcome tests. So this is really about asking, how do you respond to challenges, rejection, obstacles, and are you able to persist through them, find value in them, and then move forwards? It's also about letting go. So letting go is a really constant theme in the manifesting practice, and it's about how can you let go of what no longer serves you to create space for what will. And then step five is embrace gratitude. My mom used to say this phrase to me in Arabic, which translated as, for every thanks you give, you get 1,000 in return. And that really sums up this step so perfectly. You know, gratitude puts you in an abundant mindset. It helps you to attract more abundance to your life, into your life. But also, gratitude is so incredibly powerful and has such amazing effects on our immune systems, on sleep, on anxiety, on our overall well-being. So it's a kind of, everybody would benefit from introducing a gratitude practice into their lives. Step six is turn envy into inspiration. And step seven is trust in the universe. And this is really all about surrender. And, you know, for me, I talk about the universe. For some people, it's God. Some people, it's a spiritual realm. It's just something bigger than ourselves.
We were talking about alignment before and just allowing things to be and not forcing them.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people on a day-to-day basis, there's just like a bit of a struggle or a fight, an uphill fight. What advice would you give to encourage people to just
Yeah. Do you know, it's a really sort of fine line because on one hand, some things just take effort. they take this you going through a period of discomfort, and there will be reward on the other side. I think that that happens when we're overcoming our own fears. So let's say there's something you want to achieve, but you know you have to do something and you really don't want to do it because it's going to bring up your insecurities and, oh, you don't want to. But that's the time to be like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to not let my fear and doubt get the better of me, and I'm going to push through. But then there are times where I think you have told yourself that you want something because you think it's going to bring you that happiness, success, validation, and it's just not happening. And you just keep getting these signs that it's just, this isn't right. And I think that's a time to ask yourself, like, am I trying to force something that just isn't meant to be? And I think that really you only know the answer to that because it might be something that you genuinely still really want and believe in. And in that sense, I would say, look, find another way in. But there are times where you can admit to yourself, maybe I want this for the wrong reasons. Maybe this no is trying to teach me something. Maybe it's a redirection. Maybe it's protection. And so it's the more self-aware we are, the more in tune we can be with what we're feeling, what we're thinking, where these thoughts are really coming from, the better decisions we're able to make.
There's a very well-known prayer that's like you kind of pray to the universe, to God, and you say, if this is made for me, allow it to happen easier. If it's not, deter. So, yeah, and I think that's very similar to what.
Absolutely.
So, you mentioned that your mom said in Arabic yes to you. So you're originally from the region.
Yes, I'm Iraqi. Both my dad was from Mosul and my mom from Baghdad.
Wow.
Yes.
And your name is Rowan, or was Rowan?
So yes, my real name is Rowan.
Okay.
And what happened was I was born in Jeddah in Saudi, and I moved to Oxford when I was maybe 6 months old. And I grew up in a very devout Muslim family. I was Iraqi. Oxford was very white, very Christian. I was very different from the other kids at school, not just in the way that I looked. I had curly hair or olive skin, dark eyes, but also culturally, we had such a different life at home. We ate different food, we didn't celebrate Christmas. And so I felt very other from a young age, and that was very much like internalized. But then when the Iraqi war broke out, Islamophobia was really bad in the UK. I mean, in the West in general.
Yeah.
The headlines, it was horrible. And it got so bad that I started becoming very bullied at my school. And I was once locked in a phone box and they would chant Saddam at me. And it was just very traumatic. And what happened was after that incident, I decided to move schools. But I thought, well, I'm going to have to change my name because I don't want people to think of me as an Iraqi.
Yeah.
So I changed it from Rowan to Roxie. And I would lie and tell people I was from Jordan if anyone asked. And it was really troubling because what happened was I was being rejected by my peers, but then I was rejecting my culture because I felt embarrassed. And really, that's, I think, was the root of a lot of my self loathing and a lot of my inability to accept myself and love myself for who I was. And it took a long time for me to really change that. But when I did, I like now, my God, I couldn't be prouder to be an Arab woman and an Iraqi woman. And I love my culture and everything about it. And but I think that there are many people who can relate to my experience, those who grew up in the West.
Yeah. Do you think those almost became an alter ego, Roxy, or no?
You know what? Yes, I think so. I think that for a long time, my family still call me Rowan. So it was like I was Rowan at home and then Roxy in public. And it was only when I discovered self-development that I think I really merged the two. And I really realized that like I am the same person. And I allowed myself to be my most authentic self and show up as who I actually am rather than who I think other people want me to be.
Wow, love that. So coming back to manifesting, manifest was literally the word of 2024. We expositionary, which is crazy because I feel like a lot of people before would see it as like a woo-woo word or something that's, uh, it was the word of the year. And so like, how did you feel about that? Someone who's kind of almost shamed that and made it very I don't know, popular and,
Yeah.
especially after your book?
Yeah, I felt obviously I don't claim it, but I did feel really proud to be a part of that for sure. And I think that, when I started talking about manifestation in 2020, when I would ask people, do you know what it is? Most people had not heard the word. And if they had such a misconception around it. They thought it was just the law of attraction. So it was like, think about something and then it will come, as if it was like magic. And there was a lot of misconceptions around it. And I remember, I would often say, like, I'm the PR of manifesting, try to do damage control because I tried to be like, no, no, it's not what you think it is. It's not about crystals. It's not about rituals. It's not something you do. Like, sometimes people say to me, yeah, I manifest for 10 minutes every night before bed. I'm like, what does that mean? What are you doing for 10 minutes before bed? You're like, hang on, yeah, exactly. And so I think that what I feel really excited about is that I hope that through my work and the work of other people in this area is that people are starting to realize that manifesting isn't just, this like woo woo thing that someone does. It's actually just a mindset. It's a way of presenting yourself to the world. It's a way of being. It's a way of changing your perspectives. And absolutely everybody can benefit from them. When I run through my 7 steps, I'm like, it's so obvious, right? If you do these things, if you know what you want, you believe in yourself, you overcome challenges, you align your behavior, of course your life is going to change for the better.
Yeah.
And so I think it was a wonderful thing to see manifest the word being recognized in that way.
I feel like some people manifest and they don't realize it.
Definitely. Yeah.
Just my fiance is one of those people. Sometimes he laughs when I say, manifest this, I made him a vision board.
Oh my God, I love that.
It's just like it's in the corner of the house. But I made him a vision
Yes.
board. And I feel like he manifests without even
Yes.
realizing.
Lo-
And I sort of feel a lot of people.
Yeah. It's those friends that you say maybe are naturally lucky.
Yeah.
Or they just have this like unwavering confidence. They just know if they want something, they just know it's going to happen. And that's what it really is about. It's these things become a self-fulfilling prophecy. If we say something to ourselves over and over, if we say to ourselves over and over again, I'm really good at meeting new people, you will meet new people all the time.
Yeah.
If you say to yourself, I'm shy and I'm not good at making friends, you won't, because you will keep yourself hidden. You will become self-conscious. Like, really, what we tell ourselves becomes true.
Yeah, so true. Marissa Peer, who I've interviewed before as well, she says, just be very careful with what you like. We sometimes joke about things like, I'm going to die if I don't do this, or,
Yeah.
I get so sick, or this is the worst,
Yeah.
something like that. That she's like, you have to be so careful with how you vocalize.
It's true. It's true. And I'm like reminding myself of that all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh gosh, like I woke up really tired today. And I was texting my friends and I was like, and my team, and I was like, I'm so tired. I've got no energy. And then later I was like, oh, that's not helping me. That's not helping me feel better. But look, it's a fine line because I think we can't monitor ourselves all the time. And sometimes we need to just vent and let it out. Like, we're also women, and I'm like, you like, help me. It's what can you do most of the time?
Yeah, 100%. I have a funny story that we used to have a security guard here at the building, and he would sit at reception every day. I would walk past him and I'd say, "How are you?" And he'd be like, "We're okay, a bit sad." And then one day I said to him, "What's wrong? Like, I see you every day. You seem a bit sad." He said, "Ah, I don't know. I'm trying to make more money." And he's like that. I've never said your story. So I hope I didn't troll. What's it that's about with it? And I said to him, "Why don't you make a vision board?" He was like, "What's a vision board?" So I said, "Just buy a board and just put some photos of what do you want? Because I want to double my salary." So I was like, "Okay, but just put the amount in there." And so I want to send money to my family. So he put these pictures and I made him do it. Every day I would come back and ask him. 6 months later, he got a job in Malta. We doubled his salary. He flew his family to Malta.
No, I just like I got goosebumps all over.
And he came to me like all teary. He was like, I mean, I kind of getting emotional talking about it now because he's like, that changed my life. I would see you every day. So
That is so special.
so good. We're all connected,
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh, I really love that story. It just anybody can use this.
Yeah.
It's so powerful. It really is, and I think that is. Oh, I'm really touched by that. That's so lovely.
I didn't make a vision board this year, but I
Mm.
feel like, it's weird because I feel like sometimes when you're content,
Yes.
you kind of don't feel the need. But I used to do it every year.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I need to make my list.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, and you've mentioned this before when you were younger, they self sabotage, you know, with their words. And what advice would you have to people who sort of self sabotage, even with words or actions?
I think remember that it's much easier to stay where you are. Like, and negative self talk, bad habits, they are just that, they're habits. So our brains are doing them automatically without much thought. And so it's a lot easier for us to stay in those patterns and cycles. And the subconscious parts of our brain, they're always trying to keep us safe. And it feels safe in whatever is familiar to us. So if you are familiar with a feeling of unworthiness, of not feeling enough, of eating unhealthy food, of not feeling good about yourself, any of this, of procrastinating, then your brain will kind of try and subconsciously keep you doing that because it's keeping you, it thinks, in safety. It doesn't matter. It only knows what's familiar. That's why when we start to make change, let's say you're really used to eating unhealthily and feeling that guilt and shame and lethargy and tiredness that comes with that. And that's what you're used to. So then imagine, and I'm sure many people have had this experience that I'm about to share. You start eating really healthy and you go on a kind of regime and you think, right, I'm going to eat well and I'm going to introduce lots of nutrients into my diet and more protein and I'm going to feel better. And you start to feel better and you start to feel like you have more energy, more vitality. You wake up feeling more energized. And then what do? You celebrate with a pizza, a McDonald's, a bag of Haribo rewards, right? And that is self-sabotage. Your subconscious is going, whoa, 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 I'm not used to this feeling. I'm not used to feeling good. So let me get you back to where you were. And then everything kind of falls again. And so being aware of it really is the first step. What are the patterns that show up in your life? And how can you push through that discomfort or that urge um, so that you can actually start to find a new familiar?
Wow. Yeah, that's so true. We reward ourselves by self sabotaging with the same habit that we wanted to change.
Yeah, yeah.
So interesting. A lot of people, Roxy, in the UAE, in Dubai in particular, are lonely, they're single. A lot of people spend a lot of time at home. Even when they do go out, that it's difficult to meet somebody. What advice would you have for people on how to manifest their dream partner?
Well, you can definitely manifest love. I'm a big believer of that. And you can really use the 7 steps perfectly for it. So, step one is figure out what you want from a relationship. What kind of qualities do you want them to have? How do you want to feel within the relationship? What do you want to do together? These are really important. Um, Removing fear and doubt is really key when we're manifesting love. And it's actually what makes manifesting love the hardest because to believe we are worthy of unconditional love is quite hard for a lot of people because we have had so many wounds and traumas. And for most of us, our upbringing has shaped our beliefs about what we deserve and what love is in such a way that it's hard for us to really understand that we are all enough and worthy of being loved right. So that healing part is really integral to somebody who wants to manifest love. You have to do the inner work, the healing, aligning your behavior. Get yourself on the dating apps. Make sure you get out the house every now and then. Let your friends set you up with people. Be open.
Yeah.
Also, aligning your behavior is also about treating yourself the way you want to be treated. Overcoming tests from the universe with manifesting love is really about stop settling for people that aren't worthy of you.
Yeah.
Are you just messaging someone that you know isn't right? Are you entertaining something even though you know it's not what you want? And how can you also reframe rejection in inverted commas to actually understand maybe it's like I said earlier, protection.
Yeah.
Um, and then embracing gratitude is how can you actually sit in gratitude for the life that you have already as a single person? How can you just make sure that you're not pining for what you don't have? Because the more we focus on what we don't have, the more we keep ourselves stuck. Now, it's not to say there's a fine line, right? Because you want to be able to say, I'm ready for love, but not, I need love to make me happy. So that's the difference. And then step 6, turn envy into inspiration. When you're seeing your friends get engaged, a couple selfies on Instagram, whatever it is.
Go into the work.
It's like, can you just keep switching that kind of like, oh, I can't believe someone else is, to I love seeing love. I love love. I can't wait to experience that for myself. And then trust in the universe is about this real surrender. It's going to happen the way it's going to happen. And I'm going to trust that my person is on their way to me.
100%. So true. And sometimes you need to experience a little bit of hardship or a few breakups before you actually,
Absolutely.
go through that healing process and then meet the one,
Absolutely.
which, I'm a big believer in. So what about manifesting money? Is this something that I think a lot of people sort of struggle with?
I mean, look, I don't talk about this a lot because I think money is a really sensitive topic. And I think that actually, again, similar to manifesting love being something that's really rooted in self worth, I think there's also a lot of beliefs that we hold about money depending on our upbringing. And I think it's really complex. The world is not always fair and it's not just, and there's a lot we can't control. But I do believe money is also energy. And I absolutely believe that people can manifest abundance in all forms, whether that's love, money, success, joy, whatever.
Yeah, I love that. Tell me a little bit more about your new book.
Oh, yes. So my new book, which is now available in the UAE, I'm so excited, is Confidence: 8 Steps to Knowing Your Worth.
Okay.
Now, really, this was born out of my own journey from crippling self-worth to somebody now who is genuinely confident in who they are. And I think that I never ever thought that would be possible. I was constantly thought everyone hated me. I was paranoid. The inner critic was so loud constantly. It was truly exhausting. Um, and I had been that way since I was a kid. So I never knew any other way. But I figured that if I could manifest success, I could also manifest confidence. And I did.
Yeah.
And I realized that confidence really, for me, it's not about being the loudest in the room. It's about knowing your worth inherently. And I figured out my own 8 step guide to how you can do this. And part of it's master your thoughts, it's acting with intention. So changing the way you behave to show yourself through actions that you are worthy of love and joy. And it's about stop trying to be liked by everyone, which is my favorite step of the book. It's really good. Break free from comparison.
Yeah.
Celebrate yourself, something I think we can really struggle to do. We were talking about that before. Um, be of service. Do hard things.
Yeah.
And showing up as your best self or future self. So it's to be honest, I would say it's my favorite book that I've written. I really love it. And I think that especially if people are struggling with manifestation, let's say that they think like I'm doing all the right things and it's not happening. The reason usually always lies in the self-belief. Like that is always the block for us to living our fullest potential and unlocking everything that we have and all of our power. And so confidence really is the kind of missing piece. And so if you want to, whether you are just looking to feel better within yourself or you want to absolutely up level and just make your manifesting powers even greater, then that is the book for you.
It's interesting. So I come from an Afghan background, originally from Afghanistan. And coming from an immigrant family, I just find sometimes you sort of struggle with that self-worth a little bit because, growing up, you just get told you should just be grateful for everything because we left a war-torn country. We just, so sometimes I find it's very difficult to have that self-worth. Even up until last year, obviously, you wouldn't believe I would have bottles of perfume that I just wouldn't open because I just was like, no, I'll just keep it for Asia for a special occasion. Because
What is with that?
this is it's so crazy.
That's so
I
interesting.
only changed that last year. I was like, I need to open these bottles. They're going to
Yes. Oh my God, that is there'll be so many people listening that are like, I do that too.
so weird.
Yeah.
Because I remember growing up, like, well, my parents would hate for me to say this, but when they would get a box of chocolates or something, you would give it to another family and it would die,
Yeah.
passed on.
Yeah.
And instead of just opening the chocolates
Yeah.
and eating it because you think you're worthy of that expensive chocolate.
Yes. Oh my God, that is fascinating. It's so funny. I do it with my mum. I always bring her like beauty products.
Yes. She probably doesn't.
And honestly, I'd see her a year later and it's just sat there. I'm like, what? Why? I have more. I can bring you another one.
I'm just saving them. Yeah, same thing, same thing. Like my parents do the same thing. I still have my mom still has the same makeup that she uses like a year ago. And they turn open it. But that's, I find, a self-worth thing. Otherwise, you would just open it.
Yeah, it's or a scarcity thing, like a scarcity mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I find that, yeah, it's just something that's with the self-worth. So I'll definitely be buying it.
Yeah.
But I'm better at that. Yeah.
And so great that you were aware of it. Like I've not heard that analogy before with this, and it's so, I love it. I love that. Thank you for sharing that because I think it makes so much sense, and it's so amazing that you're able to say, "Here's something I'm doing that is clearly a result of."
Yeah.
And that's self-development. That's someone who's like done work on themselves.
Well, I'm trying. You know, it's funny, even with like when we talk about in our line of work, you know, you talk about money or a rate or something. I can never just say something and then just pause. I always have to like justify it and then I over talk and say,
Yeah.
you know, oh, this is the amount I want, and then you just come with, oops.
Yeah.
Was it too much? Was it too little? Was it
Ooh, yeah. It's a real practice, but when you get there, it's very empowering.
right?
Yeah.
You just know you can walk.
I used to be there in the beginning. I'd just be like, oh my God, what shall I say? And then just say something and then you'd be constantly panicking. Like, why did I say that? I should have gone lower. And now it's so different. I'm like, this is how much I charge. And if you can't pay it, find someone else. And I think it's well, look, it's scary at the beginning. It is, but you have to sit through the discomfort of knowing your worth. And actually, if anyone listening is like a small business owner or anything, people often say to me, like, how do I know what to charge? Charge what you think is fair. What would you be genuinely happy with for your time, where you would feel like, I am genuinely happy that with that amount, I feel valued for my work. I'm not going to feel resentful. I'm not going to feel undercut, but I'm also not going to feel like I've taken advantage of someone.
Yeah.
When you find that number, that's how much you charge. And then you can be very empowered in that, because you could say, well, look, any less, and I wouldn't feel good about it. And any more, I wouldn't either. And so that's a really good way to like find the right number.
Love that. That's so cool. There's one step that you mentioned in your book, envy is inspiration. Can you explore a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So envy comes from a scarcity mindset. So what it says is like, you have something and that might mean less for me. And it's a really like low vibrational emotion. So it can keep us really stuck. And we all know what it's like to be either to experience envy or to be on the receiving end of it. And it's not nice, right? It doesn't make us feel good, whichever way it's coming towards us or from us. Now, a lot of people, when they feel envy, they don't like to admit it. And so what they do is they pass judgment on others. So perhaps someone confident walks in the room and we say, oh, they're so up themselves. But perhaps it's envy in disguise. Perhaps we wish we had the confidence to walk into a room with our head high.
Yeah.
It might be on social media where somebody's posting something and we're going, oh, so cringe. But perhaps that's envy in disguise as well. Perhaps we want to be able to show up unapologetically ourselves. And so firstly, we have to recognize when we're feeling envy and not pass it on as judgment, but just own it. Just say, wow, that's triggered that emotion in me. Where is it coming from? And we can show you two things, either what still needs healing or what you want more of. And so we can use it. And then once we know it and we know where it's coming from, we can turn it into inspiration. So we can say, do you know what? I'm actually really inspired by the way that person walked in the room, or I'm really inspired by the way they showed up on Instagram or whatever it was. And you know what? I deserve that too. And let me put that on my vision board or whatever it is.
Yeah. That's so interesting. Yeah, reframing that, because I find, yeah, a lot of people are just so quick to criticize, you know, people online, or if you meet even, you know, little habits or doings. And I think that's a really great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so let's do a quick a rapid fire.
Okay, fab.
So we'll go through these. We'll try and make it quick.
Okay.
Okay. The first thing you do every morning.
Repeat a positive affirmation.
What's it? Can we get it excited to it?
It could be, I'm enough. I've always been enough. I'm excited for the day ahead. I'm open to all opportunities.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's an Abraham Hicks one that I was got. Today could be the greatest day. I wasted that. And then I feel crude. No, sorry. Yep. I'm owning this. I peeled. A book that changed your life besides your own.
Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway by Susan Jeffers.
Okay, I must read
Yeah,
that.
it's a beautiful book.
Amazing. A one word to describe the old you, Rowan.
Messy. Lost.
Okay. Oh, we'll leave her there. One word to describe the new you, Roxanne.
Empowered.
So cool. Your go-to mantra when you're having a bad date.
I am capable of doing hard things.
Well, said this. Might use that one. The biggest manifestation that actually came true for.
My son.
What's his name?
Wolf. Angel. Can you imagine my Iraqi parents were like, as my name, my child, Wolf. They were like, hi, Caleb.
So true. How did you get away? You were just, I was just like, one, you will. And I'm sure they have it now. He's probably there whether they're not that. A celebrity that you'd love to see making a vision box.
Ooh. Oh,
I know it's a tough one.
that is a tough one. Bella Hadid, I just love her.
Oh yeah, love her. Oh my
Yes, and actually she's been pictured with Manifest, so I'm biased.
Oh, yeah. Wow, she read none of it.
Yeah.
Wow, that is so her vibe. But sure, I feel like I can see a collaboration happening.
Bring it on, Bella.
Oh my god, I'll put it out there.
Yeah.
A sign from the universe that you always notice.
That when I'm thinking about someone, they'll message me.
Okay, love that.
Good question.
Yeah, alignment.
And
And sometimes I see, I mean, I don't even know if it's true, but sometimes I see the numbers.
yeah, that's a big one. It's a big one. Yeah, like if you see 1111, 2222, whatever it is, all these things, I always see them as little signs that you're always in constant dialogue with the universe.
Love that. Your most used word in 2024 besides manifest. Or 2035.
Oh, my most what do I say a lot, Diana? Obsessed.
Oh, so good. So that's on the Yangus. Obsessed. Love that. There's something that I use a lot is amazing, and I try I dislike because everything's amazing.
Oh, use it.
Really?
Amazing.
It's amazing. I'm obsessed. Yeah. A habit that instantly raises your vibration.
Breath work.
You need to do more of that. Do you do it often?
Yes, I really love it. There is nothing better than just being like, just that.
Yes.
You just like, it just is so nice to just stop and breathe.
Yeah.
You can do it for like 2 breaths and you'll see a difference. So, it doesn't have to be 15-minute, 20-minute, just 2. 2 will do.
So now I did a shamanic breath work for. I used to do it regularly with this guy who came from Bali. Who had to divide. And that's a whole situation. It's a whole trap.
Yeah, also.
But I haven't done it in a very long time.
Yeah. Wait, look, you're planning for the wedding now?
And ready to
De-stress.
I need all the oxygen to it. If you could manifest dinner with anyone, who would it be? Dinner.
Oh my goodness. Wayne Dyer. Oh my god, he was like the OG manifester. He's just so cool. I love him.
Well, because he had the book called it's like a Tibetan thing. I've listened to his.
He's amazing.
And finally, what does success mean to you?
Feeling at peace. Yeah, being able to be just present in your life.
Yeah, really. I know. I definitely need to figure you 5 weeks ahead.
Yeah, that's okay. That's understandable. You do contentment now.
Roxie, it's been such a
I love that.
for coming on Success Decode.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.